Morning. Sunday, October 12th, 2025. I'm Greaseball Larissa. Oh my gosh. Ugh. Fat Greasy Larissa. Mm. Time has come once again to drink from skulls. Time has come once again to drink from skulls. I had a dream about my pappy last night. I got to see my pappy in my dream. I woke up crying. I woke up crying because I missed him so much. And that's what I was telling him in the dream when I saw his pappy. I miss you so much. And he kept saying, I know, baby. I love when I get to see my grandparents in my dreams, but it's also like bittersweet. And it makes me think about how I have no relationship with my family. It's like after my grandparents died, no one in my family felt the need to be nice to me anymore. And it's so complicated. And as a child, the things that were wrong that were happening, they weren't my fault, right? As a child. And when my grandmother, when my dad's mother died, and all the grandparents were gone, then it was just like, okay, we don't have to pretend to like you anymore. No one has to pretend anymore. We can just treat you the way we want, And so it was just, I told them I want to come back, you know. And what happened the last time I saw them was just so horrendous. It was so horrendous. It's a combination of like cultural stuff and cultural conflict and oh, I mean, my parents have been together since the 8th grade, right? My mom was 19 when they got married. Oh, I don't think they should have gotten married. I don't. And I don't think they should have had me. And hey, what's the matter? What you seem upset.
I'm just tired.
The fire's nice. What made you want to build the fire? It's fucking cold. Would you please close the door? Oh, he's bent. I don't know what he's bent at me for. I have oil in my hair. I put oil. That's why I'm greasy. It's not oil that came out of my head. That's oil I put on my hair because it was fuzzy yesterday. I don't know what he's all bent about. I don't. I made a nice dinner last night. I came home, made a nice dinner. He was working. He fell asleep working. He was sitting on the couch working and he like fell asleep. I'm like, hey, you, you know? Oh. So what was I saying? Oh, my family. Yeah. My family dynamic is that they have a need to identify someone as sick and then to put all of the family's troubles on that person. I said before, talked about they might as well be Jewish on Yom Kippur because they scapegoat, right? And except they don't use a goat, they use a person. And I was that person, right? And then I just I grew up and refused to play that role, refused to fill that role anymore. I refused to believe that I was a problem. That. Anyway, anyway, when my parents were young and first married, and it was rough going, and they were fighting all the time, and the priest told them to have a baby. That would fix it. And then I came along, and that's not a reason to have a baby. That's not a reason to bring somebody into the world. So I don't think I should have ever been conceived, and I don't think my parents should have gotten married. And I guess they're still together. I don't know. I don't talk to them. Um, I'm 47, or going to be 47, so they've been married almost 50 years now, if they're still together. I think they were married, they were married, a year before they had me, 2 years before they had me? I don't know. I don't remember. Yeah. Nothing good. Nothing good came out of it for me. Right. Anyway. Anyway, I really like being able to see my grandparents in my dreams, but it also really bums me out because it just reminds me of all that. When I was little, real little, and my dad he worked on the railroad during the day and went to school at night. And um, he painted bridges and laid railroad tie. And he went to school at night. And so my mom was alone with me all the time. And she didn't really want me. She spent a lot of time crying. She spent most of her time crying, right? I don't know if it's postpartum or what, but I have very, very early memories. I have some very, very early memories. And I learned how to dial a phone really young. And she would tell me that she didn't like me. That's a hell of a thing to tell a toddler. Mommy will always love you, but I don't like you. Okay. So I would call my grandfather. I'd call my grandfather and say, Pappy, Mommy doesn't like me again. Will you please come get me? And he'd come and get me. And I had to be really little, under 3 years old, when I did that. It was a joke in my family. Growing up, it was a joke. How Rissy would call Pappy to come get her because Mommy didn't like her. But that's, my mom still doesn't like me, right? And after grandparents were all dead, then nobody had to pretend that they liked me anymore in my family. And, I mean, it had gotten pretty rotten. Living at home, I was perpetually punished, which, made me want to act out, because it was just like my sisters, and then when my sisters came along, and, when I was older and stuff, then, to double punish me, they would get all kinds of opportunities and rewards to, like, make double impact on me, but my punishment, that I wasn't allowed to have something or do something or be something that I wanted to. It was, I got married as fast as I could to get out of my father's house, to get away from them. Yeah. And I moved to the other side of the country. It was my opportunity to escape from them and from the family dynamic. So anyway, um, yesterday I went into the gallery and I didn't finish that jacket I'm working on. I am considering taking it apart and redoing something, but I was. That's why I didn't finish it all the way. But I don't think I'm going to. I think I'm just going to make do with it the way it is because I think the fabric is too delicate for me to take it apart the way I need to, and then put it back together. So I'm going to finish it as is, and then on the next one, I'm going to readapt the pattern. So this is what the issue is. I changed the sleeve shape. So the sleeve shape is originally is curved underneath, so that where your hand comes out, it's straight, and that's done so that you can finish the cuff, right? And also just for the aesthetic of the original jacket. Well, when I readapted the pattern, I got rid of the entire arc underneath the sleeve to give, because I wanted to give more room to add adornment. This is the reason I did this, and also to make it a little more blousy. Change the shape of the way it hangs right on the body, to give a little extra room, particularly if you have large boobs, like me. But really the biggest thing was I was looking to make more of a surface for surface embellishment, because sometimes I do these jackets out of canvas and I paint them, right? So that's why I did that. But I need like 2 inches, an inch or 2 inches at the sleeve, at the end of the sleeve, at the cuff, so that is more straight. That isn't so that I can finish. So I have room to put a hem, like, right at the inside of the sleeve. So I need to readapt the sleeve. That's what the issue is. And right now it's just like this big cone that comes out to the end of the sleeve, to the cuff, and it's very difficult. It's challenging. I made a facing to go inside of the sleeve, but I don't want to have to put a facing. I want to be able to just put to either to bind or just roll the end seam, right? Like so anyway, that's what I'm working on right now with that jacket. So I slept on that last night. And then I finished, or kind of finished, I carved the smaller of the two bowls, and the smaller one is harder. So what I'm going to have to do next time I make the smaller size is to roll the slab thicker than what I did for carving for the small one. I mean, this one, it's okay. I still have some finish work, some dry work to do on it now, which I'll be able to do today. But it was really challenging to carve. It was really challenging to carve that small one like that. So and I rewrapped the larger one that I have started, and I'll carve that one today. So that's what I did yesterday. That's what I did yesterday. Yeah. Oh, and I splurged on something yesterday. I ordered some fun lipsticks. I did. I ordered some fun lipsticks. They're not all for me. Um, I have the gals that do my nails. The gal that does my hands is not the same person that does my feet. I have somebody who does my pedicure. I have somebody who does my manicure, and then I have the gal who does my lashes. And so, I thought I'd give them a fun lipstick. That's part of their tip. you know, their Halloween treat, right? Oh, I just try to be nice to people who touch my body, because so many times, like the last places, I've had people purposely do things to me, like hack my hair up so that I look off. I have bad haircut. I've had people give me infections at nail salons, cut my nails in such a way they cut them really really close or hurt me on purpose or grind my nails out. And I've had people do things to me on purpose, right? Places gave me an infection on my feet, it was awful. And then you have to walk around like that, and it's just like, why are people like that? Women are so mean. I mean, it's one thing to say something shitty to another bitch, whatever. But it's like, why do you got to go out of your way to like hurt somebody's body? Like, I would never, would never. Like, there are women I really don't like. I would still never like. It's such a foreign thing. I would never sabotage another woman's body. You know, never. Would never sabotage another woman's body. It's just like, oh, oh, I don't know what he's all bent about. Then I came home last night and I made dinner. I made sushi. I made sushi last night. So I had in a jar. I had this pickling brine that I had used to pickle some hot Thai chilies, and all the chilies we'd eaten all the chilies. I used all the chilies. So, but I still had this pickling brine. It was really good, right? Like sometimes a batch comes out like extra good. Like the seasoning was perfect, and then having had the peppers in it, it was nice and spicy. So I still had this pickling brine, and I didn't want to get rid of it. And so I sliced up or I like slivered celery, just like 6 inches of celery. I slivered it and put it down in there, and I shaved in some ginger and burdock root and trumpet mushrooms, right? And I shoved all of that down into this spicy brine and let it sit for a couple days. And then I sauteed it until it was tender, until everything was tender. And I set that aside. Um, and that's what I rolled in my sushi. So it was a quick pickle. It's like pickled vegetables inside rice. And then I stir fried celery, carrots, onion, garlic, ginger, and broccoli, and I air fried some tofu. Right, so I stir fried all the vegetables or stir fried most of the vegetables, and then I dumped in the broccoli and the air fried tofu, and I put some sauce over it and let everything like steam the broccoli up. And so had sushi and then the stir fried vegetables and tofu for dinner last night. It was very good. It was good. And so tonight for dinner, so tonight, uh, I will either no, I'll cook tonight because tomorrow I'll go grocery shopping, I guess. Um, I have pinto. I'm gonna do beans and corn and squash with a cabbage uh, slaw in vinaigrette and tomatoes. So it'll be like I'm not gonna get any nachos or chips or anything. Um, Try to keep caloric intake down, right, and carb down, whatever. But it'll still be really really high fiber. So it'll be like an unburrito, right? It'll be like a burrito bowl. Have a burrito bowl. Yeah, some cheese down there to put on it too. I don't need sour cream. I don't think that's okay. I don't need it. I don't need it. My fatness doesn't need sour cream. A little bit of cheese will be just fine. Yeah. But then once I make that tonight, then then the refrigerator will be cleaned out, and I'll need to go grocery shopping. Yeah, I'm getting better at making sushi. I'm getting better at it. Next time I make it, it'll be even better. Yeah. This time was better than last time. I have to get better at portioning the rice. The first 2 rolls I made last night were about right. And then the third one, I had too much rice. So if I add a little bit more rice to the other 2, then I just need to break it into evener thirds when I make the rice. So 1 cup of rice gets me 3 rolls. Yeah. Yeah. So go back into the gallery today. Also, I'm talking to this supplier. I'm looking for a yarn supplier. And um, there's one I ordered a bunch of yarn from. And I was hesitant to I might end up working with them, I might not. I had to get more new equipment because I need to wind this yarn onto cones in order to make it usable. The yarn I ordered from them from the first supplier, which is the company's based out of the UK, and they work with uh, women in Uruguay. It's where the yarns are produced, are spun, right, in Uruguay. Um, And the yarn that I got, it's really nice. It's all really nice. It's all undyed. Um, but I was going to use that to do some test to see which type of yarn I'm going to use for the tufting. But first I got to wind it. And they said that they'll custom dye yarns for me, whatever colors I want. But they're like, well, you got to send us your colors. I'm like, well, what does that mean? Can't you send me samples of what the dyes are that you have? Right? Not wanting, not wanting like, I'm not asking for entire skeins of colors, but don't you have like a color card that you can send me that has, like a few, like when you go and buy hair dye at the store and they'll have the card that has little swatches of hair samples to show you the color. Don't you have a color card or something that has the colors, the dye colors that you have for each variety of yarn? Like, isn't that something that you have? Because they're telling me I got to order 300 kilograms of each, minimum, which I'm going to do for doing a rug, definitely. But I want to be able to see the colors, right? Like, I want to be able to see them so I can tell them which ones. I'm like, I don't know. Even if I tell you what my colors are, how's that going to, like, if I tell you you know, if I tell you raspberry beret, what is that going to mean to you, right? Like, what do you mean my colors? What do you mean my colors? Tell you my colors. Which colors? Like, I don't know what dyes you're using. I don't know if you're using natural dyes or synthetic dyes. I want the yarns that I want to use. I want to use natural fiber. I don't want to use synthetic fiber. I want to use natural fiber yarns, which is why I'm doing these tests. But like, I don't know what your dyes are. So why are you asking me for colors? I'm asking you, what colors do you have? And then I'll tell you which ones I want, right? Like right now, I'm trying to figure out, I need to figure out which yarn I'm going to use, and then I'll know what the density of the yarn is, and then I can figure out how much yarn it's going to take me to cover the area of the rug, right? Like if I have a rug that's 6 feet by 8 feet and I break it out into a grid and I figure out the total area of the orange I need and the total area of the green I need, then I know how much yarn. But I need to figure out how much yarn it takes to fill a square foot, right? How many skeins. So, that way I know, it's like, okay, I'm doing this rug that's 6 foot by 8 foot, and 2.25 square feet is going to be this color green. So I know a square foot of green, a square foot of yarn, or 1 square foot takes 4 skeins of yarn. I don't know. I'm pulling these numbers out of my ass. I don't know that. I got to do the test because I don't want to over order, and I don't want to under order, because when you have natural fiber, you have to order all of the color at once to have it all be in the same dye lot. Right? I don't want to be in the middle of a project and have like a corner left to do and have to order out of a different dye lot and have it show up and be a totally different color. Sometimes when you look at oriental rugs, right, you'll see that there's a difference in the rug like halfway through. And that's why, right? Because they ran out of yarn from a specific dye lot and had to re-dye. And when you're dealing with synthetic yarns, it's not an issue because those are the color comes out can come out the same because it's a chemistry issue, right? Like the acrylic is going to always be the same color, right? The acrylic is always going to be the same color. But when you're dealing with natural fibers, it's not the same because there is variation between animals, right? And so, when you buy a batch, it has come, even if that batch has come off numerous different animals, the fibers have been carted together so it's homogenized and consistent and will take the dye in the same way. And so you have that all the same color. So they're like, tell us what colors you need. Tell us your color. I'm like, no, tell me what colors you have. I need to see a sample card. So I'm talking to another supplier, but they're in China, and I didn't realize that they were in China. And so there's going to be tariff and shipping issues with all of these, including the one in the UK. My issue with the place in the UK was when they sent me the yarns that I ordered to test. I was under the impression that they were going to be on cones based on our conversation. And when I got back to them, they're like, no, we only have these 2 yarns that come on cones. I'm like, well, I told you I wanted yarn on cones, and you said, okay, it'll be on cones. Then why didn't you tell me that these are your options, right? I bought like a bunch, it's wholesale. I bought it wholesale, but still, it's like almost $400 worth of yarn. That's a lot of yarn. $400 wholesale, so retail, it's almost $1,000 a yarn. So if you're going out to the store and you're buying yarn, you know what, $10 a skein looks like. All right. Now imagine if you have $1,000 worth of yarn. That's what I have right now, and it's all undyed, and it's all in skeins. None of it's been wound. And I'm just like, you just wanted to sell some fucking yarn, which is fine. But it's like, I'm not looking to do a one-time purchase. I'm looking for an ongoing relationship here. And you just kind of took advantage of me. So what's my incentive to want to order from you again? Just because you wanted to make a $400 sale right now, right? Like, so it's what my, and the other thing was when I ordered from them, from this place that's based in the UK that works with this collective of women in Uruguay, there was I had to enter a confirmation code when I was purchasing, which is fine. Okay, if there's an authentic, two-step authentication to make sure that you're talking to the person who's actually buying, I'm okay with that. But when it said, "Can we text it to you?" and the phone number that showed up, it didn't show the whole phone number. It was a phone number that ended in 18. I don't have any phone numbers that end in 18, and neither does my husband. I'm like, where did this number come from? And they couldn't tell me. I'm like, oh. And then they're like, well, we need to confirm your address. I'm like, okay, that's fine. Let's confirm my address, please, after this, because now I'm concerned. So I had that back and forth with them, and language was not a barrier there, right? British accent is not a barrier. I never spoke to any of them, actually. But just so I if I have to order through them, I will, but I have some concerns about ordering through them. So this other company, they've been really easy to communicate with. They're in China. And they're willing to send me samples. They're like, we'll send you free samples, but you got to pay the shipping. I'm like, that's fine. That's fine, but my concerns, we'll see when I get the samples what these fibers are like. My concerns with ordering textile fibers from China is that there is a problem, and I don't know that's going to be a problem with this company in particular because I've never worked with them before. But there's an industry issue with fibers in China being mislabeled, and particularly like on garments. Like I have a sweater that I ordered online. It was supposed to be a cashmere sweater. It is not cashmere. It's soft. Yeah, it is soft, but it is not a cashmere sweater. It might be mohair. Maybe it's mohair. Maybe it's not mohair. It's not mohair. Mohair makes me itch. Cashmere doesn't, but mohair does. Mohair makes me itch. Mohair's rabbit, and I don't know what it is about. I had a rabbit sweater. I had a rabbit's yarn sweater in when I was in Beep. Oh gosh. When I was in Beep, so that was when I was in third grade. Yeah, third grade, because that was Mrs. Lubis's class, and that Russian woman used to berate me and John Wizineski. Anyway, when I'd go to Beep, which was the gifted education program that was offered through the public school, and I was at the Catholic school, I wore a uniform, and on that day, I would take clothes with me, and when I get to the public school, because I'd be at the public school all day, um, I would change my clothes so that I wouldn't stand out, when we go to lunch and everything. So it's like one day a week, I got to go be it was every other week, one day every other week. I got to go be at the public school in the gifted education program. And anyway, I changed my clothes. I had this mohair sweater that I had gotten. We used to get bags of clothes, secondhand clothes from one of my father's cousin's kids. I don't know which ones they were, but they had girls that were a little bit older than me and my sisters, and they were better. They were more well off than we were because it was like all designer clothes, and which was something my parents never bought. Right, we never had designer clothes that we bought. Right, any of the designer clothes that I had growing up came out of those secondhand bags from distant cousins. Anyway, there was this mohair sweater, this gray mohair sweater, and we had just gotten it. We had just gotten the bag of clothes that weekend, the weekend before, and I had taken that mohair sweater, ugh, and it made me itch. I had a rash from like here down up around my. Oh, it was awful. I can't wear mohair. Anyway, this Chinese company. I hope that like I've been emailing with them to get, and they said they'll send me samples for free. Let them know they have yak. I would love to see the yak, and they also have Mongolian cashmere. I would love that's goat. I would love, 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 love. It's super expensive, super, super expensive. Um, but I'd have to get at least one skein to do a test with, and then they have very limited. Some of those specialty yarns, they have very limited colors, and if I didn't have palette needs already for this project, like if I were just going to be doing some abstract, which I might in the future. Oh, it'd be so cool to do a yak rug. Oh, it'd be fun to do a yak rug. My maiden name's Fun Yak. Funny, funny. And it was this Chinese company. So I have concerns over hopefully that, there will be integrity of material, but also just being able to get stuff from them. Like, how hard will it be with issues with shipping? How cost prohibitive will it be? Because, the materials that I'm looking at are already high-end materials, right? I think for this set of rugs that I'm going to be doing, I have some silk. We'll see how the silk blend tufts, but I suspect that it's going to be worsted merino is what I'm going to want to use. And even that, I mean, it's not as expensive as some of the other stuff, but it's not cheap either. If I'm looking at, you know, $10 a skein wholesale, right? And I'm anticipating needing over 100 skeins for each rug, right? That's what I'm anticipating, right? So that's $1,000 in materials, just wholesale materials right there, and that's not going to then cover whatever the tariff cost is on top of it. But, there aren't yarn producers around or in the US or, on an industrial, sure, I could do like get boutique stuff. It's crazy, crazy expensive as well, but then they don't have the color selection, right? And this other place that I ordered yarn from already, they're like, "Oh, well, you could just dye your own." I'm like, "I don't want to. I don't have the equipment or the facilities for dyeing the amount of yarn that I need to do this, right? Like I've dyed yarns before, I've dyed fiber before. I've done it like, okay, I appreciate the process. I know what I'm paying for, whatever. Just tell me what your colors are that you have. Send me a sample card. Send me a color swatch sample card, which is what I'm hoping. Well, this Chinese company, they um they're willing this, they're like, we will send you free samples. You just got to pay for the shipping. That's fine. So we'll see. So it's going to be the merino wool. I'm emailing with them. So I haven't heard back from them yet this weekend, but I'm guessing, I'll hear back from them by tomorrow or tomorrow during business hours, or it might be tomorrow there already. I don't know. I didn't expect to hear back from them over the weekend, right? Hear from them during the business week. So we will see. We'll see. We'll see. But I need to design my frame. So today I will work on. I need to finish the ceramic pieces that I'm working on right now. Um, and then after that, instead of I don't know how long it'll take me to finish up that jacket. I don't know. I need to start the design of my frame, my tufting frame, so I can budget out for materials for building it. Yeah. Anyway. Anyway, that's where I am here. Yeah. That's what's going on with me.